Thanks for joining us at Tantrum House Studio 3. I'm Will.
I'm Psychic Larry.
I'm Sarah.
I'm Melissa.
I'm Jonah.
And I'm Kevin. Today we're doing a Viewpoints of Marrakesh from Queen Games.
Hey gang, thanks for joining us. Today we're going to be sharing some of our opinions on the game Marrakesh. We've all had an opportunity to play it more often, I think, than some of the other games that we talked about in our Viewpoints. I feel like we played this a bunch. Sarah, why don't you give us a quick rundown on how it's played?
In Marrakesh, you will be using your keshis to influence different parts of the city. Each round, everyone will select 3 keshis, which will determine which area their assistants will be deployed onto their board. The keshi are dropped and drafted, and the assistant actions are taken, which are multiplied by the number of keshis in that zone. Gameplay lasts for 3 seasons of 4 rounds each, and then the player with the most points wins.
Alright, Larry, we'll start with you. Give us your rundown. We know that you've enjoyed this one. You got this for your birthday. Is that correct?
I did get it for my birthday.
Tell us more.
It was one of my top 10 games from last year. I had originally played it at Origins, so almost a year ago.
Wow.
And hadn't been able to get it to the table again because I didn't have a copy. But I got a copy for my birthday. It was just sitting on the shelf at the board game store.
Wait, we need to hear a little back, little rewind button on that. We were all at the board game store celebrating Larry's birthday.
Oh, yes.
Without Larry.
Without Larry. No, Larry comes a little later.
Larry was late to his surprise party.
It's true. We were out eating lunch. And I didn't know
Enjoying
I
lunch.
didn't know we were having a birthday party, so I was just taking my sweet old time eating lunch. But then we were playing games and looking around the store, and I had bought something else, and the store manager was up there, and she was like, "Hey, is that all you're getting?" Because I had gotten
It's your birthday.
Good upsell.
I'd just gotten a couple of card sleeves, I think, or something. And she was like, "You didn't see anything else you wanted?" And I was like, "Well, I really want Marrakesh." She was like, "Well, what if I work out a deal for you?" And it was great, so I got it. But yeah, I've been super looking forward to playing it again. I still haven't won it, but it's alright. I forgive the game. All the other players. It might be a game flaw that I haven't been able to win yet, but... You know,
well, I appreciate you
super
introducing
fun.
it to me. It was the type of game where a lot of games that fall into this category where, I don't want to call it like a vanilla theme, but where it's just like a city or a building name or whatever, don't usually appeal to me. I'll admit I'm more of the Ameritrash. Like I want some cool story and crazy characters and fun stuff going on. But I did very much enjoy the gameplay experience in this one. Even though I don't feel, and I've never been there, maybe it's exactly like the city, I didn't feel like the theme, I don't think I was doing anything thematic. I was just taking cubes, dropping down a cube on a tray, put them on a spot. It felt very abstract to me, but I did enjoy the gameplay a lot.
I looked up a bunch of photos of Marrakesh while I played the first time. I was like, oh, I could see how this is
Did they have
derived.
the red area of the city? And the,
No, but the buildings are...
there's no red area.
Yeah.
It was a trick.
The gates.
Yeah,
wells.
the gates, yeah.
So one thing that I thought was interesting is the first time that I played this game, I played the Essential Edition. And so the second time I played, when I played with our group, when we played this edition, which is the City Collection Edition, there's some significant differences. So much so that I was part of the setup of the game, because I had played already, and I was lost on a few of the pieces.
Oh.
I do not know where they go. I do not know what this is.
Extra bonus pieces.
Yeah, because I played the Essential Edition, and they were absolutely different. So again, the gameplay was the same, but I thought like even some of the game board was like very, very different. I don't actually know where these go because this is not the board that I played last time.
So is the Essential Edition like higher quality or better components? Or
I like the
just different?
City Collection Edition.
Okay.
I think Essential is the baseline.
Yeah,
It's
I like the
Oh,
City
okay.
Collection Edition more than the Essential Edition, but it was just so different.
Okay.
Like I'm looking at it like I know how to play this section of the game, but I've never seen these.
This is
pictures
a very
before.
large box.
Yeah.
It was the Essential Edition a little smaller?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
the normal square.
I do have to say, be prepared. This is like Caverna with lots of pieces. Like, for one, I heard one of us make the comment, like, the gameplay difficulty doesn't quite match the number of components. I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah, it's a little
You thought it was
misleading.
more difficult or less difficult?
No, I thought it was less difficult for what it all looks like out on the table.
Yeah, I agree with
now
that. It's
there's
a little
plenty
misleading
of-
with all the pieces, and the difficulties doesn't match that.
It's not difficult to understand or play, and your strategy does have to be based on what everybody else is doing. You can't just go with whatever you want to do because you're vying for the same pieces. You may have to change up what your strategy is.
I wish the cube tower was better. Personal opinion. That's
What didn't you not like about it?
I'm like, most of the time, all the pieces are either coming out or maybe one is left at the cube tower. Most of the time throughout the games.
We had some games where more were in there.
Okay, I'm just saying, like, I felt maybe it was the cube tower construction person over there.
Larry.
broken.
I'm just kidding.
No, I've heard people say that about the game, that the cube tower didn't really keep as many pieces. You definitely get more pieces staying in there the more player count you get.
Okay.
Like if you play it with just 2 players or maybe even 3, there's obviously less that kind of get stuck. But 4 players, usually 1 or 2 at least get stuck, which is pretty good. You don't want too many getting stuck, I don't think, because then it's just going to make the game lag and then...
You guys have played it more than I have. Like, is that really a crucial part of the game that 1 or 2 cubes get the
Yes,
cashews get
because
stuck?
It's a little,
if you're the only one that say puts in a blue keshi and then it doesn't come out,
Right.
you're
And
only
you're
act-
going first. You
Yeah.
were picking, so I
Yeah.
put the blue one in because I wanted to pick first because I wanted it, and then the blue one doesn't come
So
out.
that's a bad thing then to me.
It's
What
like,
you're saying is you're saying I really want to
Definitely
do
a
it,
bad
and the
thing,
game is
yeah.
saying you can't do it.
Right.
It's adding some.
It adds some randomness to constrict you from knowing exactly what you're going to
yeah,
do each turn.
it helps mitigate being the last pick because you're not guaranteed to get everything that comes out or choice of everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
so-
I don't know what my thoughts are.
Kevin and I have only played it once, so it was a learning game for us, and we played with Larry and Sarah. Kevin, I think you had watched a video. I had not, so I got the quick teach, and I felt like it was easy to understand. Yeah, there's a lot to see and a lot of pieces, but it makes sense. Like, okay, these colors go with these areas. These do similar things. This is white track, black track. They're kind of similar.
Yeah.
So I would say, even though it looks like there's a ton of things going on, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Although it was a few turns, like figuring out, okay, the 3 that I pick are the actions that I'm going to take, but I'm not guaranteed to actually get those colors when I pick from what comes out of the tower. So that disconnect of what do I actually want to do and which colors am I actually going to take to make the other areas more powerful.
I think the very first time you play, you almost need to take 2 turns and then start over because now
Like,
you know what is
oh,
going to
that's
happen.
what's happening.
That's what's happening. So now I can make better decisions.
Not all
And I
catches
don't
are created
even know-
equal.
Yeah, and I don't even know. I actually think that I think the length of the game is good. It feels reasonable. I actually do agree that the first 2 turns in the game, because you aren't guaranteed to be able to activate the place you went to, because there won't be any extra cubes there. I do kind of wish that there was like a little buff, like right at the beginning of the game, because I feel like that first turn is kind of a waste. Like I wish,
So
I
maybe
wish
you
started
start
with
with
some
some
resources
random
or something. Yeah, like put a
Keshi.
couple out on the board so that your first turn is not just I didn't even get to go here. It's not really that bad. You do kind of need that learning turn the first time you take it anyway.
I got
but
you.
I do agree that like the first 2 turns are kind of like do some stuff.
I mean, that could be an idea if you want a quick start. There
Right.
are other games where when you don't do a whole lot at the beginning, they're like, hey, if you want a shorter game or if you want to get over that
It would
hump,
even be like a random.
here's
like,
some
random
starting
3 cubes
stuff that
or
you
something.
get.
Yeah.
One of the things I enjoyed in the game are the feed your family part of the game. You do have resources that you're going to have to spend at the end of each round. Those are randomly assigned to you, so they're going to change, so you don't know what to prepare for necessarily. I like that little bit of pressure, and I like that it wasn't feed your family like thematically. And I did like that part of it coming out each round and being different, so you didn't know what you were going to have to lean into, but you had to kind of make up for it each round.
One thing that I really liked, which I thought this game probably did the best job at of any game that I played, I really love a game with an in-game bonus. If we can track the score all game,
There's a whole section of
I
endgame
got
bonuses.
10, 15, 20 points coming at the end that you don't have, I love that. And in this game, there's an entire section where you reveal the 6 possible in-game bonus points, And then you can purchase them all, but you only get to activate 3 of them. And I love the randomness in that also, because it's like, you know, flip the first one. Oh, I'm not even going in that area. Stink. Flip the second one. Kind of. Okay. Flip the third one. Exactly what I was doing.
That happened to Sarah.
I love that. So then it's like, gotta purchase, gotta activate, like, you know, and especially if it happens toward the end of the game, kind of higher on the track.
Least favorite
it's
thing.
like, flip it over.
Oh, I love it.
10 points,
I'm
15
leading by
points, 20
50,
points.
but I know
Yes,
he's gonna sneak up.
I love an in-game bonus, and I think this game did it exceptionally well, in my opinion. So.
Well, like I said earlier, not all Keshis are created equal. I agree with Jonah. I like that, but the goals to me are not created equal either, which I think is okay. But there was one where Melissa got like 18 points from one, and she had another one where she only got 6. You couldn't make. I looked at it, it's like you couldn't really have gotten too many more.
Some of the max.
Some of the max things like are like I might be able to get 6 or 7 points from. So it's, and those are all random too. So if you get some really good ones and someone else is like, oh, the best I got was 6 or 7 points, maybe that's what Will's feeling over there.
But it's also about,
I just
did
feel
you
like
take
it
those
always
caches?
happens to me.
Well, it's also about, did you take the brown cashies and did you
Right.
buy them and do
Yeah.
you have the resources? So I just thought that it was done really well. For a person who does like the in-game points, I'm probably always going to try to get browns, right? Because I want to reveal what they are to try to get them. But at the same time, knowing that, right, next time you play, I'm going to get no browns because Will's going to take them all. So that's okay.
Correct.
There's also
There's a lot of
the-
point options to get.
Yeah.
Yes, there's also the end game bonus on the river track. So if you go heavy on that, and then the last round you can get the farthest on the river. Some of those are significant points.
They are. There's a lot of different strategies that you could use in the game, I think, which is one of the things that makes it enjoyable. There are so many different places to get points out on the board that, yeah, you might not get lucky and get all the in-game goals that score you huge points, but if you did well in some other areas, like, you can really make up for it.
What's the gray Keshis? What are they giving you best?
They buy
Tiles.
the tiles.
Yeah, those tiles to me are key to the game too. Because if you can get, like Sarah had a couple that gave her like, oh, I get to go up 2 on a track.
I got an extra coin every time
Yeah,
I
sorry.
went up on the track, and so I focused on
Right.
going up,
Which is great.
on both
Which is
tracks,
a good track to go up anyway.
and I had more cash than I could even spend in the whole game.
too much money.
I did have too much money. I was like, how are you getting all these resources? I'm like,
Must be nice.
I thought there's a
Got
few
bonuses
cards. I've got 2 wins in this game, so thanks. Anyway, but I thought some of the cards are really important. Both times that I've won the game, I got some cards early that were really good.
Okay.
And so, because I have a card, the time that we played, I had a card that gave me a coin, a water, and the other resource. I think I had all 3 resources. Was it a date? All 3 resources every time I went up a track on the
White or the
black
black
or the
track?
white track. So obviously I went up because it was like, excuse me, that's 3 resources and
Yeah.
the crossover bonus. Like, yeah.
I think that
so,
might
so
be
it's
the
tiles.
strategy. Like, you've got to get a couple things early in the game and then lean into them throughout the course of the game.
Yeah,
because if
and
you-
like any game where there's a lot of choices of areas, and the deeper you go in an area, the better the benefits.
Gotta
You
focus
can't
on
you
one
can't
or
do a little bit in all of them. You've got to go hard on.
Yeah,
on
and
a
then
few.
maybe trying to find an area where other people aren't going
Yes,
heavy,
because
so you're not
everybody's going to be
competing.
fighting over stuff. Yeah.
I love point salads, and there are lots of ways to get points in this one. I'm excited, interested in exploring it more since I've only done it once. I have ideas for future games of how to do better than
She's
the
been
first
dreaming
one.
of strategy.
That's always a good sign. If you enjoy games like that, if you enjoyed any of the other games in the City Collection from Queen Games, be sure to check out Marrakesh, part of that Stefan Feld collection of games. Really solid Euro worker placement, lots of things, not worker placement.
Heavy.
Yeah, lots of different things going on in the game, plenty of options, lots of points to be had. If you played it and you have thoughts, we'd love to hear your thoughts as well. Be sure to drop those to us in the comments. We'd be happy to reply and let you know how we feel about your thoughts on our thoughts. All right, thank you guys for tuning in. Bye.